Why is it that some West Africans have Portuguese last names? And I'm specifically talking about Nigeria and Ghana. Now, if you were to go to Lagos, especially the island, it's very, very common to see people with both English and Portuguese last names. Names such as Cardoso, Da Silva, Palmares, Williams, Fernandez, Moreira, Martinez, these are just common Portuguese last names that you'd find. And the reason for this, the reason you have a lot of these families of Portuguese last names, is because a lot of them are descendants of Afro-Brazilians who settled in Lagos in the 1830s, 1840s, and 1850s. Now, in 1835, in Bahia, which is a place in Brazil, they had the Malay Revolt, which is a revolt of Yoruba Muslim slaves. And this actually happened during Ramadan, like they were celebrating Ramadan whilst enslaved. But anyways, now this revolt was very, very bloody and a lot of people died. And the authorities were scared that essentially what will happen, there will be another Haiti situation. They were scared that they will follow the people of Haiti, which was Saint Domingue at that time. So the authorities deported a lot of the survivors and the leaders to Nigeria. Now the deportees consisted of both freed and enslaved Africans, and the Tabon people of southern Ghana who live around Jamestown, Accra, are also products of this deportation, which is why you have some Ghanaians with Portuguese last names. A lot of them were also in Togo and Benin, which is why you have Sylvanus Olympio, who was the first president of Togo. He was actually a descendant of an Afro-Brazilian. And when the Afro-Brazilians came to Nigeria, boy, a lot of them became wealthy, like incredibly wealthy. You need to understand that many Afro-Brazilians had already prior experienced having private land in Brazil. So when a lot of Afro-Brazilians landed in Lagos, they sought land grants from the British colonial government or the king, and who usually gave it to them. Many Afro-Brazilians also got involved in the palm oil trade and made a lot of money. And eventually, they formed an elite class of wealthy people in Nigeria. They even had a unique type of architecture, a unique type of Brazilian building. So they had sobrados, which are two-story buildings, which they would rent out to Europeans. But those houses alone, the sobrados, became a status symbol of wealth, especially for Yoruba cocoa farmers around that time. If you want to hear more content like this, make sure to give me a follow. Why do some West Africans have English last names? And I'm talking about specifically people from Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Gambia. Now, it's not uncommon to come across a Yoruba person with the last name Johnson or Williams or Coker, especially on Lagos Island, and the community of people who hold these surnames are known as Saro. And all Saro means is Creole in Yoruba. And this Saro community are Creole people from Sierra Leone who migrated over to Nigeria. Now, the Creole people are an ethnic group in Sierra Leone from Freetown specifically, and are descended from Black Loyalist, Nova Scotians, Jamaican Maroons, and recaptive, mostly Yoruba slaves, which were on illegal slave ships freed by the British Navy. Now, over time, this community of people amalgamated to form a unique identity with English last names, such as Brown, Johnson, Coker, so on and so forth. They became the educated elite at that time, and a lot of them migrated to Nigeria, specifically Lagos and Abeokuta, because a lot of their parents and grandparents were freed Yoruba recaptives. So a lot of them had that Yoruba connection. A lot of them knew that their grandparents were Egba, which is a Yoruba subgroup found in Abeokuta, originating from Abeokuta. So this is just one reason as to why a lot of Yoruba people have English last names. Another reason is because a lot of people at that time just anglicized their names or changed their names completely to feel closer to white people. I'm talking about during colonialism. During the era of the transatlantic slave trade, many Efik people anglicized their names. The Efik name Nsa became Henshaw. Names like Akabom became Kobum or Kobums. Names like Abasi became Basi. Names like Etim became Tom, and these became last names of certain families. A lot of Efik people also take on names that were affiliated to their title, such as King or Duke. Fanti people in Ghana anglicized their names as well. The Fanti people in Ghana had some of the earliest interactions with Europeans. A lot of Fanti names were translated directly from Fanti to English, and a lot of them would just add son at the end, like Yosan. And a lot of mixed race people at that time had a designated term known as Euro Gold Coast Africans, which basically described people of Ghanaian and European descent. A lot of Ga people fell into this category. Because Ghana was a Danish colony from 1814 to 1850, the headquarters was in Osu. They mixed with the local Ga people, and this is why you have Ghanaian people today with last names like Bruce or last names like Randolph. A lot of Gas also mixed with the British, but not to the extent that Fancies did. Which is why you do have some Gar people with English last names too.